last video, I taught you guys how to make your white center and also your yellow center. So now we're going to talk about the last 4 centers that you will need to make for the 4x4 cube. You must remember that the colors do have a very specific order and you have to put them there. I like to start with blue and then go to red and then make green and orange if possible. It doesn't always work out that way, so we'll see, but I'm going to try to make my blue face first. Remember that any of these at this time could be my blue face, okay? I have one blue here, one blue here, one blue here, and one here. I have one on every single side. So at this time, it doesn't really matter which is my blue side. I like to, if I have 2 blues together that are adjacent or right next to each other, I like to do that first. I'm not a fan of having 2 blue diagonals. I'm looking for 2 that will go together here first. So I'm trying to see which layer, so if they're in the top layer or the bottom layer on my other sides. I've got a top layer, top layer, top layer, and top layer. Okay, so I really need one to be on the bottom layer. So the biggest thing right now to remember is that we don't want to mess up the white center and we don't want to mess up the yellow center that we have worked really hard for. So when we're trying this blue side, we can move. Notice that I can move any of the sides, the front. I can move any of the kind of front pieces. I can even move the bottom. Like that's not going to change anything with the yellow. I can move the top. It's not going to change where those white are. So I can even move the centers here as long as I'm not ever moving my white or my yellow. And I know that gets a little tricky. This is one of those cubes that you're probably going to make mistakes, and then you're probably going to have to restart a couple of times as you figure it out. But right now what I see is I have a blue here, and I would really like to have a blue on the bottom layer here so that I can bring it over and align it with this cube. So I'm going to take a look at this blue one here, and I'm going to move it down to my bottom layer. Remember, I can move this side and it won't affect my white or yellow. Okay, and then if I move it right now, it's going to end up being right here in this spot. As you kind of see that if I move it over, it makes it in the diagonal. I don't really want these to be diagonal, so I moved it down here. But if I move this side again, now I have it in the, if I'm looking at the centers, I have it in the bottom left. That's exactly where I want it to be because this one is in the top left. So I want the other one in the bottom left. So notice where these are going to be lining up. Now that I have that in the correct spot, I can line that up. Okay, so I have 2 on my blue side and I need 2 more. I'm a really big fan of making the 2 line up on the other side, not on this side. So I'm going to go looking for my other 2 blue. Okay, I've got a blue here and a blue here. Okay, kind of like before, I really have this already in this top corner, and if I didn't, let's say it was over here, okay, I could move it until it would be in this top corner. So I can just take a move like that, and it's in my top left corner. I see this blue. If I move this over, it's going to move up this whole layer. So I want to put this on the bottom layer. So now my blue is on the bottom. But just like before, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I think it might make it easier that way. Turn this one time so that now my blue is on the bottom. And now, oops, this might be a part where we mess up my other blue though. So let me show you actually. So these 2 we currently have, yet this will mess it up, but I'll show you what to do. If I move that and line these 2 blue up, I have messed up my other 2 blue that I just had. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to line them up, and then I'm going to turn this so they stay in the top part, and I'm going to move this layer back so that I can realign that blue. So do you see how I realigned that blue? And I still have these 2 blue. Okay, this part of the video goes back to where I was switching the yellows. I had 2 yellows up, or actually 2 yellows here and 2 yellows up here. The same idea goes. Right now I have these 2 blue in the top and I have these 2 blues over here. So I'm actually going to go ahead, if these 2 are on the top, I'm going to turn the other blue and make them be on the bottom. So right now they're going up and down. If I turn this, oops, they are now on the bottom. So now it's actually as easy as just lining up the blue. So I lined up my top 2 with my bottom 2. Again, have not messed up my white or my yellow centers. Now I have made my blue center. So that is the 3rd center on the 4x4. I will start another video and talk about how to get the 4th center.